Hey, welcome back to a special episode of Gatecrashers, just a bonus interview for you before this weekend's premiere of YOLO Silver Destiny, season 2 of the show. I am chatting with Michael Cusack, who has been on the show before. I did interview him at New York City Comic Con. Michael is the co-creator of Smiling Friends and YOLO. You may also know him recently from Koala Man, which he created and was helped developed by Dan and Benji, who we've had on the show before. But in this interview, Michael talks a bit about his absurdist humor and how it pushes into horror, Australianisms, and a plethora of other topics. Make sure you check out the show on Adult Swim. And here we go. I'm a very professional interviewer and I'm a very hard-hitting journalist, so I hope you're ready for this.
Sure.
My first question is, what is your favorite sandwich?
My favorite that's a tough one. I go back and forth between when I feel disgusting, the meatball sandwich from Firehouse Subs, and then when I'm feeling good and how I should be, just kind of like a turkey sandwich with lettuce and tomato. Actually, you know what? Ham, cheese, and tomato and lettuce. That's the sandwich, I think, and a little bit of mayo.
No one's ever described two sandwiches for one when they're feeling disgusting.
Yeah. Oh, and also multi-grain bread. It's going to be on nice bread.
Oh, good. Good. Yeah, that's good for you. So with your humor in YOLO and the new season, it often pushes the humor so deep into absurdity that it sometimes teeters on the edge of horror. Oh. Have you ever thought about doing a horror project? Because a lot of this is a lot.
Yeah, I'd love to do a horror project. I think that I was thinking about this the other day, actually. I think horror and comedy are very connected to each other somehow, symbiotically, because they rely on getting like visceral kind of primal reactions, like screaming and like laughing are two kind of like weirdly similar things. So, and horror can be funny. A lot of horror movies that fail become funny. In a way, like if they don't achieve that hereditary aspect of being like so terrifying, or The Ring, they kind of fall into being cheesy and funny. And we love playing with it with like strange horror scares in YOLO. And I would love to do a horror project someday if I found the right one. But right now it'd just be comedy.
Good. It's interesting to hear. Now, you've worked with Monkey Stack on both YOLO and Koala Man, correct? For animation?
Yeah, so Monkey Stack did all the animation on season 1 and 2 of YOLO, including like in-house stuff at Princess Bento, which is in Melbourne. But Monkey Stack did the Koala Man pilot for ABC, which was years ago, which isn't what the Hulu thing is. Hulu show is now. That was kind of like a first rendition of what Koala Man was. They worked on that years ago. That's how we kind of formed the relationship and how they worked on YOLO. But they did some things on the Hulu season, but yeah, not that many. Mostly YOLO.
But with working with a studio like that multiple times, how hands-on I know your animation background, but how hands are you on animation for this show?
So my role these days has turned into a lot of like animation directing and like note giving. And at first, when we're doing the season 1s of these shows, there was a lot of that, and like, you know, a lot of like kind of trying to get animators and animation directors to follow the instincts that I would do in a project, and how to draw certain things that I would draw. But the good thing that's happened recently and in recent years is that early work has paid off in a way where now there's directors that have been with me for a few years that can kind of like take lead and know what I would do, so I can delegate more and spread across more projects, and now it's more like giving notes on things. But I still get in there and like draw and do concept designs, but a lot of it is just leaving it up to more talented people than me.
So with this being Silver Destiny, is there anything that you're looking to push more this season than you have previously? Is there anything avenues you want to explore more?
Yeah, I think we wanted to step up the animation in this one more, and we wanted to step up like the form breaking, do like more interesting stuff, weirder characters, just keep, because we always just want to entertain ourselves and keep it fresh for ourselves. But also we wanted to have like a light serialization in this season. So we explore Rachel and Sarah's friendship a bit more, and that develops over the episodes. But, it is still a show where you can tune in and enjoy it, like if on a random episode. But it's kind of crafted in a way where if you watch the whole season, you're going to kind of get like an overarching story between the characters that hopefully is satisfying. It was a challenge to do because, it's new for me to do that kind of stuff. I've only learned doing that kind of writing from Koala Man and now doing this and, a bit of it on Smiling Friends. But I've got a lot of help in terms of the other writers.
What was the hardest part about approaching serialization for you as a writer?
It's a little bit more serious, and my instincts go more towards comedy and kind of nonsensical stuff. So you have to think a little bit more left brain. Is that it? Left brain with the more technical side of your.
I'm not a doctor, so
yeah,
you can say whatever you want.
Yeah, the more whatever it is, the more technical side of your brain, because you got to really think of it as like a puzzle, and it gets a bit. I guess not fun and more technical, but when you nail that and you get it right, it's more satisfying. So yeah, it's definitely harder, but yeah, I worked with Anka Vlassen, who's a writer who works on Koala Man on YOLO too with that, and she's really good at story structure and taught me a lot about that.
Interesting. Have there ever been any jokes where you felt like you were pushing it too far in this program specifically?
No, I don't think so. Because the comedy of this show is, I don't know, it's not that kind of comedy. I don't think it's more like it's more like surreal stuff and like I don't know. Maybe it has to other people, but for me, it's always felt kind of like appropriate. Yeah, I'd hope so.
And how would you, this is a hard question, how would you describe your particular brand of comedy? Would you say you're more of like a surrealist, or like when you're writing, how do you like come at it? Or it's just like, you just go with the flow?
I think I like being inspired by real grounded things that you wouldn't think of putting in TV. I think Larry David said this once. He was like, he likes to focus and put things on TV that you would think are too mundane to explore, but actually like they're, that's the fun of it because it's so relatable to everyone. And I really, that's really inspiring to me because I love Larry David and Seinfeld and shows that really focus on extremely relatable, mundane things that we all experience that are kind of maybe annoying or strange. But in contrast to that, I also love, strange kind of shocking humor, like classic, like Adult Swim humor, like, they do in Xavier or even like South Park, where it's surreal and, and Monty Python
Xavier.
does this too. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I just
What a
like,
show.
just strange things happening is always fun to explore. And it's really fun to creatively work in that kind of environment because it's a lot of like anything goes type of attitude. And, you take that over to the voice acting. You can, depending on what mood you're in or what voice you do, you can create a whole new character that's like, for some reason, makes sense in this world. So it's fun to also explore in the surreal, bizarre elements of the show.
My last question is, all of your projects have some sort of very authentic Australian flair to them. Is there anything that you put into this season that you're excited for people to see?
Yeah, I selfishly like name dropping Wollongong because I grew up there. So there's like a Wollongong high school reunion. There's various little Australianisms that are either made up or close to my heart, and that's the same as Koala Man too. It's kind of fun to do a mix, but I like. Let me just think for a sec. So I've got the Aussie, like referencing like chicken schnitzels, like that's so specific to Australia. That's fun to kind of get in there, and just it happens. It's not as conscious as like we don't sit there and go, how many Australianisms do we put in? I think it's just we all grew up in Australia, like most of the writers did, so we just kind of were inspired by our lives, and it just naturally seeps in, which is the best way to do it.
Yeah, it's more authentic than you trying to like shoehorn them in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your time.
No worries, Daniel. Thank you. Thanks for chatting with me. It was a pleasure.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah. Hope to talk to you soon.